Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues. With this video, we're discussing my thoughts on episode 10 of the anime series Sora, Yori, Tooi Basho, or A Place Further Than the Universe. And this was, for all intents and purposes, relatively sweet episode. Most revolving around Yuzuki's, sort of social ineptitude when it comes to friendship and not really understanding what friends are and how do we know we're friends and that kind of thing. She knows what friendship is. She knows what friends are, but she hasn't perceived whatever change there has been for all of the rest of the girls, to consider each other friends and such like that. She needs it to be more plain stated because it's something she really hasn't experienced before and such like that. And that's something that really is captivating to me as a Western viewer of Japanese anime, how they deal with such things like this that are usually taken for granted in the Western world. We kind of get what friendship is. We kind of get, that feeling, that sensation. There's care and concern, compassion for someone else. You enjoy spending your time with them. You might have mutual interests. Maybe you have differing interests that you much like in a romantic relationship, it's something that fuels your desire to spend more time with that person because they teach you something. They yield some new information, some education, and it's something mutual. It's something that goes back and forth between you and someone else, you and a couple other people, whatever like that. And I just like the deliberance with which the Japanese seem to sometimes consider these things very philosophically, what it all amounts to, what it means, what a person's actions or inactions might mean, how we might perceive them, and all those kinds of things. And there was a lot of that going on in this episode, and we see it. At least I've run into it time and time again, where they very deliberately sort of just, talk things out, trying to philosophically figure things out, and metaphorically, and what it all amounts to, what it all accounts to. In our perception of it, whether it be friendship, whether it be romantic relationship, whether it be someone's spurning desire against someone else antagonistically, and all these different, sort of quotients in the human experience. And just the fact that sometimes they have to so deliberately spell it out, it's quite transfixing to me and engrossing to me. And but then at the same time, it's a teeter-totter where sometimes it goes back and forth between that being very much intrigued by it to also being exacerbated by it, because there are times where they very much push the envelope a little too far, and it begins to risk that suspension of disbelief that this character is really a living, breathing human being, a human character. Because of their ineptitude, because of their obtuseness, it seems almost unnatural, because most of these things by this point for us, who are watching, those things are a given. And, we've already figured out what that means for ourselves. And to see characters who, even though these are young teenage girls, still very much in high school, by that point, they should have worked a lot of this kind of stuff out. And, of course, Yuzuki is a singular example because she hasn't had that kind of lifestyle. So much akin to the show running concurrently with this one, Violet Evergarden, which also has a protagonist that's very much socially inept and also unfamiliar with emotions and feelings and love and what that is. Sometimes they just really push the very barest edges of that becoming annoying, that becoming like unbelievable, And I didn't quite feel it as much with this episode because they balanced it very well with like Mari working behind the scenes to, make a birthday cake for Yuzuki to celebrate her birthday. Apparently her birthday transpired as they were on their journey to Antarctica, and they were all sick at the time. So they were not in the mood for celebrating at all whatsoever, is what it suffice to say. And but Mari, in realizing Yuzuki is so obtuse, she's so naive, she's so inexperienced in this, in what friendship is. She wants to reach out to her as a friend. And the other girls, of course, Miyake and Sharase, they're perfectly in tune with that. The email that Yuzuki got, which was sort of treated almost perceptibly ominously in the tail end of the previous episode when we saw that little icon click on to the laptop screen that she got an email, I was thinking, uh-oh. what is this gonna be? And it's just that she actually got a part in a drama, like a daytime soap opera or something like that. She's gonna play the friend of the protagonist of the piece or the episode, whatever it's gonna be. And I guess she hadn't decided whether or not she was gonna take it, even though she was, she got the part, because there was some deliberance in even coming to that conclusion. Well, I think I will take this. And it's all because, I think I'm kind of working out what friendship is and how I can approach playing this character because it's a friend of the protagonist. And so I guess that was very much what was her, reservations about that. She's having to play outside of her experience, outside of her element. And but by the end of this episode, she really warm-heartedly, with the gift of the birthday cake and hearing her song being played by some of the other people on the ship as they're getting the supplies they need off the boat and stacking them up and getting them all fitted for the place they're going to be staying in and everything like that, cleaning the place up because it's been barren for 3 years some odd. All the while she realizes that people do recognize her. People do have a certain amount of expectations in the performer that she is. And so, but I also think maybe she's placing a bit more, expectations on herself than are actually maybe warranted. There was one guy who played her song and sort of nodded at her. And it seemed to me, in any case, that he was sort of nodding, showing the cake, being like, thank you, we recognize you. We appreciate your efforts here, what you're doing. But of course, I think she puts more importance on it that, these people are going to be disappointed if she doesn't continue pursuing her career in some fashion, whether that be doing the little quick cut, video series that they're doing, their entire trip going to Antarctica now that they're finally there. The tail end, sort of sequence they show after the credits of this episode is, they're tacking up sort of their things to do list, things to go through. And a lot of that is doing like a recap episode of their journey and just, filling in everything that they're doing now that they've arrived in Antarctica, filming the bringing in of the supplies and doling them out and setting the place up. Celebrating Christmas is probably another one, that they filmed some snippets of and will be sending back home. There are messages coming from Japan to the girls. I noticed Mari, has a message from her family, and I think it was Miyake has like a track running team sent a message to her, and so what they're doing is inspiring to the people they left behind, even some of those who they might not have considered having any sort of hope or estimations of positivity for their accomplishments. And here they will be, so recognized, and that's pretty cool. But again, suffice to say, the entirety of the episode was much more about Yuzuki and her lack of really, having any cognizance, any understanding, any being able to wrap her mind around what friendship is. At what point during our journey did we consider ourselves friends? Did we start to? I must have missed the memo, It's kind of her mindset. And it doesn't take that. It doesn't necessitate that. It's kind of a vague thing. It's an unspoken thing. Do you care about each other? Do you enjoy spending time with each other? Have you had fun together? That means you're friends. And they just needed to really, with all due deliberance, put this forth for her on a level that she would understand. Celebrating her birthday, and then she blows out the candle by sneezing, and she figures, it's her first time and she messed it up. They all die laughing, and I thought that was pretty cute and funny. And that's this episode in a nutshell. For the most part, it was cute and funny, just barely, pushing the boundaries of my suspension of disbelief in the fact that, is she really that obtuse, Yuzuki? Like, she can't figure some of this out. I know she hasn't had the experience, but, I mean, there is intellect behind those eyes. She's got to be able to think about it a little bit, right? Like, try to come to conclusions. Formulate, what you're experiencing, what you've been experiencing with these fellow girls you're on this journey with. But in any case, it's a minor gripe, really, for what was for the most part, an enjoyable episode. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 10 of Sora, Yori, mo Tooi Basho. If you've seen it as well, if you enjoyed it as much as I did, if you had some qualms with it like I did, pushing that social ineptitude, as I say. But if you thought in the end, as I did, it was cute, it was relatively satisfying, not nearly as satisfying, as like previous episodes, but still good for what this series is and what it's managed to do in keeping me entertained and endeared to these characters. And love it or hate it, anything goes in the comments below. Just let me know what you thought of this episode, what kind of experience you had watching it, and hopefully you'll join in the conversation. That's what I love about watching anime like this and doing these videos, is talking about how good, bad, in between they are. And this is a good show. So yeah, otherwise that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.